Hello, awesome people. I hope you are having an amazing day today. Today, I thought I would take a look at my serial Saturday. The Spider Returns from 1949. It's the sequel to the previous one 3 years ago from 38 called The Spider's Web, which was and this is a 15-part, 5 hours exactly thing. I watched it for the first time last Saturday for you folks as part of this serial that I dedicate to talking about the lost genre and art and so forth. Right, so let's go and get started. This is also made by Columbia. It's one of the earlier ones from the pulp era magazine hero named The Spider for you folks. This is the first one in serials from the Spider's Web. And the Spider's Web made some changes from him to the serial. Like his costumes, they dialed him down. He's pretty violent in the comics and the magazines that he appears in, and so forth. And they made him more of a superhero, which was heavily influential. And the 38 one was the most successful serial. So obviously they're going to do a successful. It also sort of became the Columbia blueprint for their serials moving forward. And so forth. I think it's pretty good. I think they chose a good, solid, underpinning for that reason. And this is definitely 3 years later in that oeuvre, and so forth. It's only 2 actors reprise their roles from the previous one. The lead actor, Warren Hull, and then the guy who's playing Ram Singh. But there's another guy who also reprises a role himself, but not his role. He was the stuntman for the Spider in the previous one, and he is now playing Jackson in this one. All right, so basically the idea here is that Warren Hull is the actor who plays the Spider, criminologist Richard Renworth, regularly called Dick, and also another CD person called Blinky, and then he's a CD guy, and that's where he gets a lot of his information from, and so forth. So he plays 3 roles for you folks, and so forth. He's the protagonist. His female love interest is played. She knows his secret identity at the beginning. He says at the end of the last one, beginning of this one, he's sworn off, being a spider, and so forth. And then a big bad appears, and then he tells her that he just has to continue to do it. At this time of the right, and so forth, when this is being set in World War II, he has to continue to keep it up, and that sort of a thing, and so forth. And so that character, that female love interest, she was his fiancée in the previous one. They don't mention it here. Her character's name is Nita Van Sloan, and she's played by Mary Ainsley, a different person in this one. The male sidekicks in this household, also known as Identity 2, from his butler to his manservant. 2 of those that star are Dave O'Brien, the one I mentioned before, the stunt guy, his Jackson, and the character of Ram Singh that I mentioned before, played by Kenneth Duncan, is another one of the returners. He's not Arabic. He wears a turban and a suit, and he tries to use an Arabic accent, not very well, and so forth. So I think that this is right. I would have preferred if they changed that actor to give it somebody who actually was Arabic and that sort of a thing. I don't know what you would call the style of dress up that he does for this character and putting on the effects and so forth. He could have, a yellow face is what you would call somebody in Asian. And blackface is somebody in black. So I don't know what you would call somebody in Asian in Arabic face and so forth, and that sort of designs and such. But I don't think he does a very convincing job, and I would have preferred that they recasted him into somebody who's actually Arabic and so forth. I think that would be great, or of a Middle Eastern descent. So that is of its time, unfortunately, right? And so forth. And then, like I mentioned before, O'Brien played the Spiders as a stunts in the previous one. So he returns, but for a different role. Right. So Joseph Gerard plays the police commissioner Kirk, the friend of Dick Grayson. I'm sorry, not Rick Wentworth, not Grayson, but a rival of the Spider, because he's all about that, taking him out, because he thinks the Spider's behind a lot of this stuff. It's directed by James Horn. It's written by, and I'm not making this number up, 7 people. 7 people. So I'm obviously not going to really all this people to you right now. I'll put them up on the screen, hopefully. It's produced by Larry Damore. It's actually Damore. It's spelled D-Armor, but Armor is with an O-R. O-U-R, like the British. No apostrophe. And then it features a character, like I mentioned before, who was changed to the Spider, who was changed for the comics, that hugely influenced Spider-Man from his costume to his superhero persona to, his vigilante nature, right? Because, like I said, Police Commissioner Kirk is trying to put him out of business because he's a vigilante. Outside the boundaries of justice and that sort of a thing. And at the same time, we have our peoples out there that are trying to help out, to take them out and so forth, like the criminal syndicate. So the powers that be, the journalists and so forth, feel that he is just trying to take them out, not for justice, not because it's the right thing to do, but for the financial books and the checkbook, right? And that sort of a thing. So that's one of the reasons why I think, in addition to his costume and his persona, I think he heavily influences Spider-Man. So like many World War II stuff, when this is set and being filmed in 41, this is set there. The primary bad guy, the gargoyle, isn't introduced until right early. You won't find out who he is until the final 15th serial. There's no clip show. Great. In the penultimate episode or the previous one, there were Trooper Driver. I like that lots. He's getting mysterious funding from an evil foreign power that we're at war with, but it's hidden. He's trying to disrupt us, and that's so fun. It's fun. The fighting's good. The action is certainly good, and so forth. But I wouldn't say that the sets are strong as the previous one, or the costumes are very strong, and so forth. And this definitely doesn't have some of the originality of the previous one to it too. I feel a little more formulaic. It's also longer, not in terms of chapters, but the length too, at a full 300 minutes, and that sort of a thing. So I'm probably, and it feels its length too. It's probably a couple of serials too long. It probably should have been better, tighter as a 12 episode. That's a lot tighter. Probably removes a couple of hours from it. And that sort of a thing. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 for that reason. Also, the fact the non-Arabic guy playing and having with this really not great Arabic accent and makeup and so forth. So I just don't like him at all. So there you are. Those are my thoughts. 7 out of 10 for you folks. To the sequel, The Spider's Return from 1941 from the serials. And so forth. All right, so there you go. Have you watched this? And if so, what did you think about it? Probably, again, try to keep this spoiler free, but let me know if you agree or disagree with the 7 out of 10. As a reminder of this, this concept here, I try to unpack the Lost for this serial Saturday, and try to take out this day in order to talk about I talked about the forgotten storytelling method. It was very, very popular at the time at back theaters. It was what people talked about. It was the water cooler talk of the day. But it was heavily strong stuff at the time. But we've got movies and we've got TV shows, but we've sort of forgotten this storytelling method of dividing something into a bunch of chapters and then going into seeing it. So basically what would happen during that era is that, like I said earlier, it was sold tickets. And this sold a lot too because of the previous ones. It was a sequel too. So basically the idea is that you would typically go to a theater for a few hours, not just for one film, but for an entire day with your family and your friends and your school workers and your church mates and your whatever, your Boy Scouts, whatever, that sort of a thing. And then you would go ahead and start building up that first film. You might let's see one on Saturday like today, and then you and you'll watch a few previews and shorts like newsreels and cartoons, that sort of thing too. Then you'd watch the A picture, then a serial, and then you'd head the intermission. You talk about the serial, you talk about the A picture. typically. That's why they did it. And then you would come back for the B picture a few shorts beforehand, maybe a short or two. Afterwards, the B was often very, very short, sometimes 75 minutes or an hour. And then you would go to another serial, and then you would finish that out and go home. Again, with the serials going in a mission, and then sending people home. Again, that was the final thing. How is this person going to survive the cliffhanger? Who is the big bad? Find out next week in this theater, right? And it was what brought people back. And so forth. Very, very popular at the time. And like I said, the previous one, the Spider's Web from 38, was the hugely successful one too, right? So again, you would talk about the cliffhangers, which that word comes from the serials. Literally sometimes in the westerns, and then talk about how is this person going to survive, or who the big bad is, right? That sort of stuff. Great stuff, lots. And so for those reasons, it was it sold out all of these seats. And like I said, the previous one, the Spider's Web was the best selling serial. And some of the ones that are happening here soon, like Flash Gordon, are going to sell so many seats that even movie theaters that don't traditionally sell serials are going to be like selling them and doing like limited showings for the entire thing. And that sort of thing, because of how popular they were. So again, this sold seats brought people to the theaters. But we've forgotten that, and that is sad. So yesterday, I did a review, my top 10 of the top 10 foreign language films. Next week, I'm going to do my top 10 on Friday for action films. So you can check that out if you're interested in that. I also did my top 10 domestic films of all time too, and I'd like to do that. So if you like this movie stuff, you'll check that out too. You'll like that too. And then if you like this both, hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon if you're feeling frisky, to be notified of my videos. I do 7 a week, and then also my. Just let your friends know that are video friends, movie friends, serial friends, superhero friends, whatever, right? And so forth. Also, I try to do 3 reviews a week on older stuff in fantasy, science fiction, and horror in literature. Like on Sunday, I've got a sword and sorcery collection of Renegade Swords. On Thursday, I just did yesterday, a couple days ago, I just did a review of a 1989 game book set in a post-apocalyptic sci-fi world, where you are basically kind of like Mad Max trying to get people to the safe area, called Hawaii Holocaust. So now the second book will be next week, and on Tuesdays I'm currently doing reviews of H.P. Lovecraft stuff, right? So that's obviously classic stuff, right? Love it lots. So if you're into that era, check it out. Also, I do on Wednesday video game reviews, and on Monday I do reviews of older things in RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons, or war games like BattleTech and that sort of thing too. And just last Monday, I did a review of a B4 module, The Lost City by Tom Moldvay from 82. Again, all older stuff too. All right, so that's where the passion of this channel and the name of it comes from all these older things and so forth. That's the worst thing about new books. It's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones, right? There's definitely some older stuff like that. And then finally, I just want to thank you so very, very much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.